The following is a presentation of the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. Broadcasting from the campus of Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, the Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show is on the air. Your chance to hear from Liberty head women's basketball coach Alexis Sherard comes your way on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. The Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show is presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Start banking with Freedom First today. The Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show is also brought to you by Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. It's Bo time. Carter Bank. Life lived full. Coca-Cola. Taste the feeling. By Foster Fuels, providing reliable service for 100 years. Lynchburg Nissan. Nobody beats our prices. Nobody. Rogers Heating and Cooling, servicing Greater Lynchburg's HVAC and electrical needs. Thompson Brooks Insurance, planning today for tomorrow. And by the United States Space Force. Have a question or comment for one of our guests? Email lfsn@liberty.edu or post a message at LFSN Radio on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Mills for three. Yes! Avery Mills from 3rd Street. Liberty leads 57-51.
Now let's talk Liberty Flames women's basketball. Here's your host, the voice of the Lady Flames, Jamie Hall.
Welcome into this week's Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show as we sit in the new year. Happy New Year to everyone. It's kind of that mid-season, even though technically it's not the middle of the year as far as the number of games that have been played, but non-conference is finished up and now conference play begins. And as we've said in the past, it's almost like season 1, season 2, and then the postseason is season 3. And Coach Alexis Sherard, unlike Netflix, you can't binge the entire season in one night. You've got to play it out over the course of the next 2.5 months. And so I know there's a lot of challenges ahead, but let's take a quick look back at what you've accomplished to this point with such a young team. So much of the offense from last season is gone. Some of it's playing professionally overseas, as we've been following Bella Smuta's career, and she's doing great playing pro ball. But there's some weapons that you don't have, and some of them you knew you weren't going to have because they were going to graduate, and a couple may have, been unfortunate with this day and age of the transfer portal. You're going to lose some athletes these days. That's just it's an unfortunate thing that's everybody's dealing with, every coach is dealing with, and no matter what level, you're going to lose some players. So you had a very young team, a couple of experienced players, but then we talk about Avery Mills and Emmy Stout as being an experienced returner that played a lot of minutes last year, and they're sophomores. They're still they still barely can vote, and they're they have had to step up and be the leaders on this team. But how would you say, with that influx of new players that have come in and the young players that are getting more and more minutes, and then a couple of old souls in the locker room as well? We talk about Liz. She's kind of a quiet leader. She's been around. It doesn't seem like she's a junior, but she's been around now 3 years. How would you say, regardless of wins and losses, how the team has meshed and bonded to this point?
Well, I would say I'm definitely pleasantly surprised. I mean, as you said, we lost, to be accurate, we lost 70% of our offense from last year. So I think I've said before, this year could have easily been considered a rebuilding year. Everyone's moved into new roles.
Including yourself?
Including myself. So we're talking new roles from top to bottom, literally. So people who have had, reserve minutes, minimal minutes, are now maybe doubled, tripled. But to this point, January 1, I'm overly pleased. I mean, we've just been really trying to learn how to win, learn each other, grow as a family, as a unit, as a team. And, our bench has really grown over this non-conference tournament. Our starters are embracing their new role, doing a very good job in the new role, and we are slowly coming together as a strong unit and a force to be reckoned with. But we're young, so with youth there comes inexperience. With inexperience there comes inconsistencies. So we've just been trying to minimize the inconsistencies and just continue to grow as a family and continue to learn how to win.
When you look at the schedule, and I know as a coach you want to be undefeated right now. Forget about games you're supposed to win or supposed to lose, or you're favored in or you're underdog in. But if you look at it as a fan, I'll just say from a fan standpoint, I look at that schedule and I go, okay, there's a game or two maybe that you should have won, but then there's also a game or two that you won that maybe you should have lost. George Mason's a tough place to play on the road. You kind of snuck out of there with a victory. Hawaii is a team that at the end of the season, I think if you played them 9 times on a true neutral court or 10 times on a true neutral court, you're going to win 7, 8, 9 of those games. I feel like you're going to win most of those games playing them in their time zone after all the travel and everything else was kind of an unfortunate disadvantage that you had to play through. So there's a couple games that maybe could have gone the other way, but for the most part, the games that you were supposed to win, you won, and you played some good teams like Duke and JMU on their home floor, and there's not a lot of shame in losing those basketball games. So do you feel like you've kind of played, maybe just around what you expected coming in?
Well, I asked the team to grade our at-a-conference play to this point, given the fact that we lost 70% of our offense, the inexperience, the new roles. I gave the team a solid B, just with regards to the wins and losses and the travel and who we played, the strength of schedule. But the players themselves, they gave themselves about a C minus. So they felt that they could have done better. And from a coaching perspective, you want that. You want your team to be hungry. You don't want them to be satisfied. But, facts are facts. I mean, the transfer portal, seniors graduating, anytime you're transitioning with new players, new system, new roles, there's going to be a lot of learning curves. But, with that schedule that we had, I was pleased with the results. There are a couple of games we felt that we probably could have won, should have won. But, again, with the youth that we have, just learning how to win, I feel really good going into conference play, just with regards to preparation and confidence in our bench. And essentially, that's what you want coming out of non-conference.
I know this program over the years has really prided itself in bringing in freshmen, maybe freshmen that aren't ready to be major contributors at the Division I level, and building them up. You think of the Maya Berkmans that didn't play a ton her freshman year, but by the time she's a senior, she's all everything, and Bella was kind of the same way. Mm-hmm. She was a contributor early, but she wasn't an all-star. But by the time she graduated, here, she's winning awards and playing overseas professionally. But in this age, do you still want to cultivate those young players, freshmen, and build them into great players by the time they graduate? But do you have to have almost in the recruiting, have one eye focused on high school players and one eye focused on who might be available in the transfer portal, which is also, ifs and buts too. You don't know that they're going to be available, but you kind of have to think in two different directions.
Yeah, I think it's the new norm. I mean, the transfer portal has really changed the game. Sports is heading toward more of a professional type level. But in this field, you can, with regards to coaching, one of the rules as a coach is you can never stop recruiting, ever. I mean, that's going to be the bloodline of your program. You want to really, the most important players are the players that you have in your program. Those are the ones you want to cultivate relationships, develop relationships, build relationships, because you want, at the end of the day, you want to retain everyone. Now, if you can do that, that's excellent. But, in this new day and age, statistically, you kind of have to be prepared if someone does want to transfer. So I think you never stop transferring. The most important players are the players that you have in your family. You want to try to keep them, develop them as best you can, maximize all their potentials, win as many games as you can. And then at the end of the year, you pray about it, leave the rest up to God, and, you fall where the chips may go.
When you take a look at the other teams in the conference, and we've got kind of the standings in front of us here, what stands out as Conference USA play gets ramped up and starts up this week. When you look down the list, I know the fans, they're going to look at Middle Tennessee and go, wow, 5-7 to begin the year. What's wrong in Murfreesboro? But they've played a tough schedule, so that may not be a completely fair representation of what they're doing. Western Kentucky's kind of in the same boat, team that has been consistently very good in Conference USA, but their non-con has not been the best. New Mexico State that you're playing coming up in this next game, 4-8, not a great start for them, and then maybe some surprises at the top. UTEP 8-3 to begin the year. Kennesaw State's 7-4. La Tech 7-4. I guess not really a surprise with La Tech. FIU 7-4, and they've had a pretty good run the last couple of years. Some injuries have sort of put them back a little bit last year, maybe further than what we would have expected. Sam Houston 7-4. Missouri State, brand new to the conference, they're 8-5. Delaware 6-6, they're new in the conference, and then JSU 6-6. Anything that jumps out from those numbers?
Conference USA, we're a solid mid-major. Depending on the coach's philosophy, some coaches want to be tested in the non-conference, and they're going to, schedule those Power Four, those big-name schools, and those tougher games. And some coaches may want to. Given who they have returning and the team that they have, they may want to have a lighter schedule. So, the records can be misleading. I'm not 100% familiar with everyone's strength of schedule. I think it just really depends on the coach and that coach's philosophy and kind of knowing their sheep and what their sheep need. Do they need a tough schedule this year? Do they need a softer schedule to try to, build confidence and preparation for conference play? So everything is predicated toward preparing your team for conference play. So every coach is going to have a different philosophy just with regards to strength and schedule. So I think you really can't go on the current records. As we all know, once you get into conference play, everyone's record is 0-0. So I tell our players all the time that in conference play, everyone knows your plays, everyone knows personnel, everyone knows your strengths and weaknesses. It's just going to come down to discipline, unity, and being tough. Because conference play, every night, you have to play, you have to be at a 10 in order to get a win. You have to try to win at home and then steal games when you're on the road.
And to that point, I'm sure if we were talking to Coach Insel at Middle Tennessee, he would say, well, if we played UTEP's schedule, we'd be 8-3 too, and if they played our schedule, they'd be 5-7, just like we are. Or he might say even worse than that. But so yeah, it does come down to what the needs are for a particular program and how you're going to match that up. And I think your team has your scheduling and you and Coach Green's scheduling philosophy over the years is to challenge the ladies, but at the same time also have some games that I don't want to say cupcakes, that's the wrong way to say it, but when you're playing some D2 schools, it's meant to give your younger players some experience and get a home game, because it's not always easy to schedule home games, and there's kind of benefit to that. And I heard Kim Mulkey talk the other day about how not only is it good for the LSUs of the world to play a Division II school every once in a while to get the young players involved, but it's good for not just, maybe in her case, it might be more of a SWAC school or a MEAC school or something like that. But it's good for those programs as well, because they get a guarantee game and they get to play in a big arena and in a nice environment.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great experience for those lower level schools to play like a LSU. And, like we said, I think it just really depends on the coach, and there has to be a balance. I don't think you want to go into conference 0-11. And, sometimes going into conference 11-0 could be, misleading as well. You get a little big-headed, overconfident. So I think there needs to be a good balance where, your team is tested. They have some confidence games where they, get some wins, and because conference play there'll be very difficult games, especially on the road. This is a very tough conference to win games on the road. So I think the balance is probably the best recipe just with regards to preparation in anticipation of conference play.
Well, you gave us a nice little segue into the next segment that's coming up. You're talking about being on the road. You're on the road right now. And when we come back from this break, we'll talk about these first two games that the Lady Flames are going to be playing at the beginning of, 2026. That doesn't even seem right. I remember Y2K, and we were turning our computers off at midnight, and here we are. And the players weren't even alive back then. Not even close to being alive back then. They were 4 or 5 years from being alive back then. But anyway, we'll take a break and be back after this here on the Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show.
What's important isn't that Freedom First has been in business since 1956. What's important is how we've been doing business since 1956. Since day one, we have been accountable to our members, not stockholders. We make loans that cost less, offer savings plans that pay more, and give back to our community, and that hasn't changed. What has changed is our ability to serve you with more locations and more technology to simplify your financial life. Freedom First. It's a place where anyone in our region can bank for good.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
You're listening to the Liberty Women's Basketball Show, presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Today's show will continue after this 1-minute timeout on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.
Thousands of our teammates make and deliver 300 of the world's best brands and flavors, locally. From the heartland to the coast, in big cities and small towns. Our products are moving, and our trucks are rolling. We share a passion and a purpose, and we love to refresh and serve our communities. We are Coca-Cola Consolidated, your local bottler.
At Carter Bank, we believe life is best lived full of opportunities and dreams, of goals achieved and promises kept. We've been creating opportunities for more people and businesses to prosper since 1974. That means great local lending, convenient access to your money, accounts and guidance that make it easier to get more done. We are Carter Bank, the preferred community bank of Liberty Flames Athletics. Visit carterbank.com to learn more. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Hi, this is Alan York, asking you to join the team as a member of the Flames Club. As a Flames Club member, you can make a difference by directly contributing to the success of Liberty Athletics. The Flames Club's mission is to raise the financial support needed to provide our coaches and student athletes with the resources to compete for championships. Membership levels vary and begin at just $75. Some gifts may even be tax deductible. When you join the Flames Club, you're truly investing in champions and championships. Join today at libertyflamesclub.org.
Welcome back into the show. Coach, it's time to play. Conference USA, the schedule is here. It's on us, whether we're ready for it or not. And I know you guys are ready for it. I think from a fan standpoint, it seems like basketball season should not be halfway over or even close to halfway over. To me, November and December just absolutely flew by. But here you are. You're in Las Cruces. You're taking on New Mexico State. They've had a little bit of a struggle to begin the year. I know they would much rather be 8-4 and not 4-8, but they still pose some challenges for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Jody does a great job. She has a fairly new roster, some new faces, but she does a great job. They have a good inside attack. They have players on the perimeter that shoot the ball well. Imani, their point guard, she has great length. She poses a lot of problems for opposing backcourt players just because of her length. But, we're excited. We're excited to be here. We play in a great conference. Obviously, starting on the road, New Mexico on the road brings its own challenges, the travel, the time zone, time change. But, as I said, I think our non-conference has prepared us. Most importantly, we're healthy going into conference play, which we can't take for granted. And I'm looking forward to starting this new year off, hopefully getting a win in our first game.
That's a good point, the Ortho Virginia injury report. Now, over the course of the non-conference, you did miss Claudia Thien a couple of games with an illness. But for the most part, there's been some bumps and bruises as any team is going to go through. But for the most part, not many. What do they call them? I think in hockey they call them man hours or something like that missed, but clearly that wouldn't be the phrase we would want to use, but not many minutes missed because of injury.
Yeah, no, I thank God for overall we've had a pretty healthy non-conference play, obviously with Claudia missing a couple of games, but you just can't take that for granted. That's kind of the dark side of the game. It's part of the game, it's the dark side of the game. So anytime you can leave a game and all of your players are leaving, healthy, that's a great day. And like I said, I'm looking forward to conference play. Our out of conference has prepared us. I'm very confident in our bench. They've really proven to me or given me more confidence in them over the course of non-conference play, moving into conference. So now it's just a matter of getting the job done. You have to be better than your opponent for 40 minutes. So all the records and schedules are out the window. It's everyone's 0-0, and you got to be better than them for 2 hours.
One of the toughest parts about playing either New Mexico State or UTEP, regardless of which of those games is the first of the 2-game set, is the travel and dealing with getting here and getting acclimated to the Mountain Time Zone and going through all that. Well, you're less than 2 weeks removed from dealing with Hawaii time zone and 5-hour difference and 8 hours of flights and all that kind of stuff. So your team is probably battle tested when it comes to travel by now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that Hawaii trip was pretty tough. I mean, 11 hours, 6 and 5. This might seem like a short trip to some of our players considering that Hawaii trip. Hopefully we've recovered from that trip over the holiday. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there are no excuses because New Mexico, they're going to have to travel, East Coast and play other schools in conference. So like I said, in conference play, it's very difficult to win on the road. You just have to be disciplined. You have to be tough. You have to play together and just do all the little things that you can control because there are going to be a lot of things that you can't control. You can't control the time change. You can't control the travel. So I just think if we just do what we've been doing in practice, continue to play unified, and then you can kind of trust the results, whatever happens.
How about some matchups, some keys that you might think that we need to focus on in the game?
Well, as I said, I think Imani, their point guard, I mean, she brings length. She's poses a lot of problems for opponents. Obviously loose. She's an inside-outside type player. Obviously Liz, we usually put her on our opponent's best perimeter defender. But, there's no secret to what we're doing. We're going to change defenses a little bit. You don't want any of your opponents to get too comfortable. But, like I said, Joda does a great job. Mo, she's a tremendous athlete inside for New Mexico State. I mean, she's she can jump over the moon. She's just so athletic. She's quick. So obviously, for our post players, they're not maybe going to be used to the speed. So that could pose some problems for us. But like I said, we have to change some defenses, give them some different looks, and we got to just continue to do what we've been doing: defend and rebound the basketball.
Let's talk about your point guard situation for just a second before we wrap up. Claudia Thien, I think we've seen her point production go up this year, which is solid. I say go up. She didn't get a ton of playing time her first couple of seasons, but she can give you some scoring punch, but her assist-to-turnover ratio has been elite for most of the season.
No, I'm very pleased with Claudia. She's doing a great job. I mean, she's our floor general. She's, putting players in the right spot, delivering the mail, giving the perfect pass, the pocket pass when they're playing tight on the perimeter. When they're sagging in, she's kicking out to the perimeter. So, she's very talented, and I'm really encouraging her to even shoot the basketball more because even her three-point field goal percentage is, mid-40s, upper 40s. So, she's just not a volume shooter. So I think it'd be beneficial for us if she can get, a couple of more shots here starting in conference play.
All right, Coach. Well, we wish you the best.
Yeah. Thank you, Jamie.
Turn up the heat. Foster Fuels is a proud partner of Liberty Athletics. Fostering warm moments for 100 years, Foster has been providing exceptional propane and gas services throughout Central Virginia and surrounding areas. From propane to fireplaces and tank installs to tankless water heaters, Foster does it all. Visit fosterfuels.com or download the app to order fuel, pay your bill, and more. Get the customer service you deserve and turn up the heat with Foster Fuels and the Liberty Flames.
Lynchburg Nissan's model year in sales event is on, and the savings are huge. Remaining 25 models are tariff-free and have 0% up to 60 months. Discounts up to $7,100 off MSRP, and new cars starting at $18,950. Lynchburg Nissan is ready to pay up to 130% of fair KBB for your trade too. We also offer guaranteed credit approval. Inventory is limited and selling fast. Stop by or schedule your appointment at lynchburgnissan.com, home of the million-mile warranty.
You're listening to the Liberty Women's Basketball Show, presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Today's show will continue after this 1-minute timeout on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.
Rogers Heating, Cooling, Electrical, and Plumbing. Your certified Generac backup generator experts. Online at callrogers.com.
The light from a star can take millions of years to reach Earth. So when you look at a star, you're looking back in time. But I see the future. I see exploration and courage. I see my country finding new horizons out there. And I see giant leaps making a comeback. I see myself. The future is where I'll make history.
This message is brought to you by the United States Space Force. More information is available at spaceforce.mil.
Thompson Brooks Insurance has been serving Virginia for over 35 years, helping individuals and businesses with their insurance and investment needs. The team at Thompson Brooks is experienced in understanding Medicare, retirement planning, life insurance, the healthcare marketplace, and group insurance benefits. Call Thompson Brooks Insurance at 434-385-8500. That's 434-385-8500, or visit them online at thompsonbrooksinsurance.com. Thompson Brooks Insurance, planning today for tomorrow.
Have you downloaded the Liberty Flames mobile app? If not, what are you waiting for? The Liberty Flames mobile app is your lifeline to Flames athletics. Get the latest news on your favorite teams, find upcoming schedules, buy and download tickets to the next game, listen to podcasts, and hear our online Liberty Flames Sports Network audio broadcasts.
Pass caught into the end zone. Light 'em up. Touchdown, Liberty.
It's all on the Liberty Flames mobile app. Download it for free from your mobile app store today.
Welcome back into the final segment of this week's show, and we've got a special guest that some of you may know. If you don't know him, you know his work. But Paul Carmany, who is, and it's hard for me not to say sports information because we called it sports information for, well, I'm sure for 50 years before even we were alive. It was probably called sports information, but now you're in athletics communication, or is it athletic communication or athletics communication? Or is it communications? Where's the plural?
I think it's athletics communications, but
close enough.
Yeah.
And so you're basically, even though the title has changed a little bit, your job has stayed the same for the most part. What you're doing with this women's basketball team is you're putting the notes together for the media before a game. You're putting the story together after the game. You've got the social media responsibilities, which that is something new. That's probably new to the athletic communication era as opposed to the sports information era. And then beyond that, you're setting up interviews and you're doing a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff. So the reason I say that maybe you don't know Paul personally, but you probably know his work, is if you've ever read a recap for women's basketball or track and field, cross country, if you've read any of the previews or if you've looked at the game notes before, then that's been something that Paul does directly. And what year is this for you now?
This is my 20th year, actually.
20th year?
Yeah.
Wow, time flies, doesn't it?
It does.
It's crazy. And you've seen a lot of championships in all of your sports over that time, women's basketball, track and field, cross country. All-Americans, national. I mean, you've made trips out to Oregon multiple times. I'm sure other places too for the track national championships, NCAA tournaments for women's basketball, and you even started off doing some volleyball. And I think you made some NCAA tournaments in volleyball too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I never got to go, but the team made a couple NCAA experiences while I was doing that. That's one of the challenges is managing multiple sports at the same time. So each time volleyball made it early on, women's basketball is also playing at the same time. So you're trying to figure out where you're going to be. And there's even a crazy trip one time where I covered women's basketball, volleyball, and cross country all on the same trip. Did a lot of driving from state to state to get to all those events. So.
I think I remember that. Did it end up in Terre Haute?
Yeah, it started out, women's basketball played 2 games in Western Carolina on a Friday, Saturday. Volleyball played the conference championship in Asheville on Sunday, and then the NCAA cross-country championship was in Terre Haute, Indiana on Monday. And then drove home to Ohio for a few days for Thanksgiving, and then drove to Washington, D.C. for a women's basketball tournament the next weekend.
Yeah, I remember that tournament in Washington, D.C. I believe I got a traffic ticket driving up there myself, or maybe been Josh Wood. I remember Josh Wood. He may have been the one driving. He may have been the one that got the ticket. I'm not sure. So over those years of doing all the different sports and different activities, like what's the 1 or 2 things, whether it be the travels or the outcomes that stand out the most for you?
And mentioning national champions, it's hard not to put Sam Chalanga near the top of the list. Winning multiple national championships, I was fortunate enough to be there for a couple of them. Didn't get to be there for a couple. Ironically, his last national championship, I was in a wedding that day. It happened he won the 5K out in Des Moines, Iowa, and I was actually on the phone getting a play-by-play of the race right before the wedding started. So that was a memory I'll never forget. I wish I could have been there, but it's kind of fun to think of in retrospect.
Who was given the play-by-play?
Michael Prettyman was giving the play-by-play.
Exclamation point.
Yeah, yep.
Prettyman he's a character.
Yeah, he called me and gave me a play-by-play the last few laps of the race. Because actually, at that event, he was in 2 different races, and he was favored to win one, which he didn't win, and then he wasn't favored to win this second one, and he did. And so that was exciting, and he awesome human being. Kind of kept in touch with him over the years, and he's got a great family. He's still running professionally all these years later. He's left a legacy in a lot of ways. And then you're talking about travel. I've gotten to go. I mean, this is my first trip in New Mexico right now. Never been here before. Just got back from Hawaii, my first trip ever there. My first year, we went to Cancun, which is so. Yeah, Liberty has definitely paid for me to go to a lot of places that I likely would not have gotten to get to easily otherwise, and make a lot of memories along the way. Also near the top is just all the great coaches and staff and players I've interacted with over the years. That's, I guess, one of the most rewarding parts of my job is getting to shine the light on others. I get to work with so many great people here at Liberty that I get to help. Usually I'm not on this side of the camera. Usually I'm putting them on the side of the camera so they can tell their story, who they are, and the fans can learn more about them and kind of get a deeper connection there. So that's one of my most rewarding parts is just getting to shine the light on these people and ultimately shine the light on Christ and what Liberty stands for.
We talked about Prettyman and I think he and I were about the same age. We were in school at the same time. I'm not sure who was older, a little younger, a little older, but I was on the track during my first 2 years. I didn't run track. I mean, if you see me running, just wait a few seconds and you'll see whatever it is that's chasing me. So I'm not a runner. But there was some unique personalities in the track, and I love our track athletes, but there is some. It's interesting. It's interesting. I know when I was in school, I don't know if this tradition still continues, but on Halloween they would all dress up in some crazy costume and run across campus. I don't know if that tradition still goes.
It went for a while. I don't think it's quite what it used to be, but it definitely hung on for a while.
So I guess this is a clumsy transition to ask of the different sports that you've covered. What is the differences as far as the athletes and the personalities are concerned? We've got this women's basketball team's got some personality, and we see that on the bus, on the plane, not just on the court, but also even when they're in their downtime on a road trip, they're having fun in the meeting room when the coaches are long gone. They're still there. So there's some personality here, but the track and field, they may hold the title of the most personality of any team on campus.
And it's just such a wide variety of people too. Over 100 athletes, all types of body sizes and shapes, and Some are very shy. Some are outgoing. Like a media day, some want to get in and out of there in 10 seconds. Some would stay there for 10 hours. It's very unique. There's such a wide variety of people, but they all kind of come together and do their own unique thing. It's kind of definitely like the biblical analogy of the body. That like they're all unique parts, all unique roles. But as you mentioned, they've come together to win a whole lot of championships and compete at a very high level. So it's really neat to see how all those unique personalities mesh together into a really powerful unit.
And there's some uniqueness as far as the coaches are concerned. Coach Tolsma, Coach Bingham,
Coach Vinny.
Well, I was getting there. I was going to say Coach Tolsma, Coach Bingham, pretty laid back. Not that they're not low energy by any stretch of the imagination, but they are the calm and collected ones in the room. And then you've got Coach Vinny and some others that are always in sixth gear, and the transmission only goes to 5.
Again, it's. Yeah, great staff to work with, and they definitely. I don't know how they get the energy they do. If we're trying to keep up with that many athletes and such a long season and so many hours, but they somehow pull that energy together. I wish I could have some of that energy sometimes.
Well, how has track gone? I mean, I know you're very early on as far as the indoor track season, so I guess probably more of a cross-country question and more of a preview of what we can expect from track.
Yeah, I guess it's been interesting the last couple of years. I mean, for many years, kind of the men's program has been maybe slightly ahead of the women's program. Up until last year, I had never written a story about our men's indoor-outdoor track and field championship or team not winning the conference championship. Unfortunately, Kennesaw State ended both those streaks last year, but both had streaks 20-plus years winning the conference championship in a row that were snapped last year. But right now, women are slightly ahead of the men. I don't know exactly what the factors are, but the women won the Triple Crown last year. They won cross-country, indoor track, outdoor track, all at the conference level. And then they have started this year with another cross-country title led by Allie Zealand, who went to nationals and became an All-American for the first time as a sophomore. And then just 2 weeks later started her indoor track season and ran the number 10 time in collegiate history in the 3K. So she's definitely a headliner right now.
For those that don't know about the history of the Zealand family, tell us a little bit.
Yeah, she's definitely trying to follow in the footsteps of her mother. Well, and her father was a good runner on the men's side, Josh Zealand, but then her mother, former Heather Sagan, now Heather Zealand, the coach, not only her mother, but her coach on the distance side, was Liberty's first NCAA Division I national champion. Her senior year in 2002, she was an upset winner in the indoor mile and then took second in the outdoor 1500 and was a professional runner for a little while. And then, so Allie is the first of her 4 children and is now a sophomore on the team. I make the comment to a lot of people, I feel old because when I first started at Liberty, Heather was pregnant with Allie, and now Allie is All-American record breaker on our team. That's how long I've been here.
Wow.
And then her William is a senior in high school right now, and he's committed to run to Liberty next year. So that Zealand name is going to be around for a little while longer.
Yeah, they're pretty good at what they do as well. So it'd be fun to kind of follow that sibling rivalry a little bit. I'm sure that we talk about it's different times, men versus women. You can't, when we had Coach Sherard's kids on a couple weeks ago, you can't really compare the times, but you can compare the hardware. Who's won the most races, the most championships, who's All-American or not, those types of things. So I'm sure that's a fun rivalry that they'll have in that household. When's our next opportunity to watch them?
Actually, next Friday, the 9th, there's a small meet called the Berg Open. It's kind of confusing on the schedule because it is taking place at our indoor track facility, but University of Lynchburg is the official host of the meet. So there will be a number of Liberty athletes who are coming off their winter break who will be resuming their season there. And then there'll be the following week, the 16th and 17th, there'll be a bigger group going to Virginia Tech. And then after that, almost the rest of the season is all at home. We got some good meets coming in. Of course, we have the Conference USA Championship the end of February to hammer it all home, but a big meet this year to watch for if you have a chance is the Brant Tolsma Elite Invitational. Should be better than ever. We got kind of a small, high-quality field coming in. Northern Arizona, which is coached by Liberty alum Jared Cornfield, is flying in for the meet, and then a lot of the ACC powers, NC State, UVA, Duke, Wake Forest, are all getting together. So it should be a really good meet. It's going to be televised on Flow Track, which will be a first for our program. So after these first couple weekends, starting late January, you might want to stop by the indoor track several times. There'll be some good competition going on.
Outstanding. Well, during the time that you've been at Liberty, you I almost said this and it wouldn't have made any sense. You were here by yourself for the first few years, and then I almost said then you became a brother. You've always been a brother. Well, no, I guess you weren't always a brother, but early in your life you became a brother. But your brother came to Liberty. Joe started working probably about 5 years after you did, something like that. And so for a little while it was you and your brother. So for the first 5 years or so you were by yourself. Then your brother came along. So that's nice. You got a little family in town. You work together. Your offices are next door to each other. And then you became a husband, and so I'm sure things changed a bit, and responsibility certainly changed a bit, and it probably made travel a little tougher. And then now, even more recently, you've become a father. And so how has life changed from those first 5 years when it was just you to having your brother work alongside of you, to now being married and now having a child as well?
Yeah, it's been great having more and more family here, but yeah, it definitely does make it a challenge. For example, like this trip, we're away for 4 or 5 days. We're almost a week in Hawaii. Although I enjoy traveling, it's tough being away from family. So it's kind of a balancing act. And I guess I alluded to that trip during one of my early years where I was gone for a long period of time, went to volleyball, women's basketball, cross country. I'm not as eager to seek out those opportunities anymore. I obviously travel when I need to, but I'm not as eagerly seeking the long, crazy travel, because I want to be home as much as possible, especially as my daughter grows up and gets more active in school. I want to be around as much as possible, but still do my job at a high level. So it's definitely been a learning curve. And I've been blessed to Todd Wetmore, my boss, a couple of years before we had Gabby, he and his wife adopted 2 girls. So I've gotten to kind of see how he's balanced his work responsibilities with being a father, and got some advice from him. So and now Bill Smith, our men's basketball contact, now has a 1-year-old daughter. So we're all, several of us in our office have had young daughters we're raising, and can kind of share tips on how to balance the family with still doing a high job. So it's very rewarding, but like I say, sometimes it makes it a little bit challenging being on the road, just being away from that, especially right this time of year. It's the holidays, and my daughter's off from school, so I would love to have some more time to spend with her, but that's sometimes the sacrifice you make.
Everybody talks about coaches' wives, but maybe we should get the sports information wives on to do a podcast and say what that life is like as well, because I'm sure it's probably not as much moving. The coaches' wives have to worry about, a year from now, am I going to be getting adjusted to a new community? There's not as much of that. There's a little bit of that in your field, but for the most part, that's not the concern as much as it is just the long hours and the long trips.
Yeah, and even you mentioned not just when I'm traveling, but when I'm at the office. Some of these weeks I'm working a lot of hours, either working a lot of events or preparing for those events, juggling multiple sports at the same time. So it's like I said, I like to do a really good job with what I do, but I want to make sure I'm there for my family too. So it's a challenge, but I try to keep learning and keep doing the best I can in each phase of that.
Well, day to day, we talked about the notes and the game recaps and the social media posts and all those types of things. But what are some things that maybe someone who doesn't know the behind the scenes, what's going on in the sports information office? I know you guys are a pretty fun group to be around, and there's some unique personalities in your it's not cubicles anymore, but in your little quadrant of the building too. But what's going on behind closed doors, so to speak?
I don't know. Yeah, we try to have fun together. We often go out to lunch together, and sometimes we're yelling whatever across the hall, and you start hearing doors close around, because we're in the same hallway with a lot of the other athletic administration, and I don't think sometimes they like us yelling across the hall to each other. So, but we get along. We converse throughout the day and talk work-wise, talk family stuff. We get along well and try to, and we support each other with all these events going on. We help each other out to get through the busy times, and I definitely wouldn't trade this group for another one.
Finally, let's talk about those notes. You're putting a lot of time and effort in, and you're not just doing the women's basketball notes and the track previews and those things, but you and your brother actually also have a big hand in the football notes that we read week to week during the fall. So what are a couple of your favorite tidbits that you guys have picked up on, and how do you come up with some of the stuff that you come up with?
I don't know. Yeah, Joe would be a good one to tell you. He's really good. I do a pretty decent job, I think, but he was really good at digging up the last time since, or some really quirky combination, something like that. I don't know, one that came to mind when you were talking about like all-time favorite, that was kind of neat how it worked out, was a number of years ago now. Liberty played back-to-back games against Texas A&M and Baylor, who at the time were the two most recent national champions. And so I was wondering, how often does it happen that one school has played back-to-back games against the last two national champions? So I dug back a few years and found that it was Stanford who had played the two most recent national champions. And at the time on that Stanford staff was Sarah Baruda, who was on our Liberty staff when we played Baylor and Texas A&M. So it's kind of fun I didn't expect that when I went in. So sometimes you do some research and it doesn't end up being that exciting, but sometimes it does end up being something with a really cool connection. So that was one that was fun and then she didn't remember exactly that connection, but she remembered that trip and going through that. And I think it ended with Christmas break and like falling asleep in a Christmas Eve service or something like that after the crazy swing. I can't remember even what the teams were, but they'd played the two most recent national champions and then led right into Christmas break for Stanford. And then was doing it again with Liberty a few years later.
How many times have you've got a potential note right there in front of you and you just need someone to help you out with making a free throw or one more consecutive field goal or win this game, and I've got the note of the century and you can't make the basket for them?
Yeah, I feel like it happens with free throws a lot. Like I feel like I've jinxed a lot of. So that's one of the notes I keep track of is free throw streaks. And Avery Mills had a great free throw streak going earlier this year and was getting close to Emily Lytle's record, but then ended up missing a couple up in the Navy tournament. But I don't know. I've no doubt that the way she shoots, she may have a chance to make another run at it during her career. And she's one to keep an eye on right now. The way she's shooting 3-pointers. Emma Hess likes to remind the players that she's got a couple 3-point records. She might not have much longer the way that Avery's shooting. And just the makeup of this year's team, she's getting to play a large role, getting to shoot a lot of threes in each game, and is making a lot of them too. So, yeah, definitely she is providing a lot of note material, and I think we'll continue to do so.
Well, I always ask the players if there's any hidden talent or what keeps you occupied when you're not watching or dealing with sports or playing with your kid at home and those types of things. Is there something that we could pick up on? I mean, we talk about your brother, and he's got the race walking that I think they even made a race walk to remember or something like that video about Joe Carmany. Yeah. Is there anything like that in your background?
Well, I mean, I used to run. I run multiple marathons, and Joe and I still, as long as our work allows, a couple of times a week, like to run together, and that's a good time for us to. Usually, we don't talk that much work. We just talk about life or what the Browns are doing or whatever's going on. That's a good time for us to usually do it early in the morning. It's a great way to start the morning, get some exercise in, get some companionship, and I don't know, it's a great way. So often we try to do it, especially on Mondays, if it's a good way to start off the week, because a lot of times Monday can be a crazy day with meetings and unexpected things coming in. So to be able to get out there and spend some good time with their brother and burn some calories is a good way to start the day. So that's, I don't know if I'm any more marathons in my future, but I like to run and keeping somewhat of shape with all the food we eat in these crazy trips and the crazy hours. I want to take care of my body as much as I can and enjoy doing that, and it's a good way to connect with my brother too.
We used to play pickup basketball, and you guys were both in that league. It's not a league, but just a group of people that played. Sarah Baruda was one of the ones in there too, and I believe, and I may flip flop these. I hope I don't, but I think. You guys were both known for your defense, and you got the nickname the Mitten, and then Joe came along and was just a psycho at defense. I mean, just like you're in my personal space kind of defense, and so then he got the nickname the Blanket because he was completely covering everybody. So did you guys play any basketball growing up?
We did. Most of the time we either got cut or didn't make our team. We had a pretty good high school team. Actually, like his senior year was the best high school team we'd had in a long time. Like won the district title the first time in 35 years. Ended up, the previous year they had a good team and lost to LeBron James, and they would have ended that streak a little bit sooner. But so like we had some really good athletes, went on to play college sports. So it was tough to make our high school team, but we played a little bit like in junior high or freshman, and I've had some competitive battles out in the driveway, but it didn't get to play at a very high level competitively in our high school.
And now, last thing, I believe your parents are visiting. They're in town right now. Mm-hmm. Did they have to ever, at any point, separate the two of you? Did any of your games get a little too physical?
Yeah, we definitely had some heated games. A lot of times, one of us ended up like chasing each other back. That we'd be playing some sport out in the yard, and somebody would be upset with the other, and somebody would be chasing somebody back to the house. So yeah, it was. We were very competitive with each other growing up.
Well, I won't ask who won those fights. You guys can settle that score later on. Maybe it'll be Todd Wetmore chasing you around the hall of the LAC trying to break up the next fight. But
or Ryan.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, then you'll definitely be putting a timeout after that. Well, Paul, it was fun catching up, and I don't think we talked anything about this season or any. So I guess let's finish with that last thing. Give us a stat, give us a note, give us something for this game coming up against New Mexico State that the fans, as they're watching and listening along, can be keeping an eye on.
Here's one thing you asked me about yesterday as we were getting to the airport here after this long trip. You couldn't remember off the top of your head. Have we always won all of our games at UTEP and New Mexico State? And we actually have. These are the two of the teams in the conference we have a winless record against so far in our first 2 years in the league. Even though it's a long, grueling trip, and they've had some good players. Last year's Conference Player of the Year, Molly Kaiser, was at New Mexico State, averaged 28 points against us last year, but we hung on to win both times. So, yeah, so far we have escaped this trip and our home meetings with them unscathed. There's been some good battles, but hopefully Liberty can keep that going and get 2 more wins to start conference play here.
Sounds good. Check out all of his stuff at libertyflames.com. Anything to do with women's basketball is going to be pinned by Mr. Paul Carmany, and including whatever happens in the game against New Mexico State. That'll be up shortly after the ball game there, and then you can find the notes for tomorrow's game, or actually by the time you're watching this, it's today's game. You can find the notes for today's game, or then UTEP on Sunday, which is strange. This is a Friday, Sunday weekend. Normally it's Thursday, Saturday, so it's throwing me off a little bit. But follow along, libertyflames.com. You can also watch the games on ESPN Plus, or if you want to listen to the radio broadcast, we're on YouTube, Facebook, and on the Liberty Flames app. So those all the ways that you can follow the Lady Flames as they start off 2026 in Conference USA play on the road at New Mexico State Friday and at UTEP on Sunday. Until we talk again, this is Jamie Hall saying so long and God bless.
You've been listening to the Liberty Women's Basketball Show with head coach Alexis Sherard on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. Today's show has been presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Start banking with Freedom First today. The Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show has also been brought to you by Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. It's Bo time. Carter Bank. Life lived full. Coca-Cola. Taste the feeling. By Foster Fuels, providing reliable service for 100 years. Lynchburg Nissan, nobody beats our prices, nobody. Rogers Heating and Cooling, servicing Greater Lynchburg's HVAC and electrical needs. Thompson Brooks Insurance, planning today for tomorrow. And by the United States Space Force. Liberty Flames Basketball is an exclusive presentation of the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.